There is a secret that has been hidden in plain sight throughout all of human history, woven into the fabric of every sacred text, whispered by every true mystic who ever walked this earth, alive in the words of the prophets, alive in the silence of the saints, and alive in you right now, in this very moment, though you may not yet know it. It is not a secret that requires a lifetime of study or a monastery in the mountains. It does not belong to the learned or the privileged or the spiritually advanced. It belongs to anyone willing to stop waiting, stop begging, stop staring at the outside world for confirmation of what must first be made real on the inside. The secret is this: feeling is the only creative power you possess, and until you learn how to wield it deliberately, consciously, with precision and love, you will continue to create by accident, by default, by the unconscious repetitions of old states that no longer serve the life you were born to live. Understand this deeply. Most people move through their days feeling what the world gives them permission to feel. They feel poor because their bank account says so. They feel unloved because no one has yet said the words. They feel trapped because the circumstances appear to offer no exit. And because they feel these things, because they accept these feelings as the truth of who they are and what is possible, the world faithfully, mechanically, without judgment or preference, continues to produce more of the same, more lack, more loneliness, more limitation. The law does not care what you want. It only responds to what you feel. And what you feel with consistency, with depth, with that quiet inner acceptance that whispers, "This is simply how things are." That is what hardens into the facts of your life. The law is perfect. The law is always working. It is working right now. The only question is whether you are working it or whether it is working you. Let this settle into your spirit before you move another moment forward. Your entire outer world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. It is the precise, unalterable reflection of what you have been feeling, assuming, and accepting as true in the depths of your own consciousness. The world you see when you open your eyes each morning is not independent of you. It is not a fixed stage upon which you are merely a small and powerless actor. It is the mirror, the screen, the physical echo of your inner state. And if you do not like what you see, you do not argue with the mirror. You do not try to rearrange the reflection. You change the one who stands before it. Neville Goddard said it in a way that should stop every human heart cold with recognition. The world is yourself pushed out. Read that again. The world is yourself pushed out. Not a version of yourself that is performing or pretending, but the deep, abiding, assumed self that lives beneath all the words you tell yourself about who you are. What you deeply believe yourself to be is what the world must reflect. Not what you hope you are, not what you wish others perceived. The felt sense of self that runs beneath every thought and action like a current beneath a river. That is the cause. Everything else is the effect. And when you understand this, when you truly feel the weight of this truth, it does not make you despair, it liberates you. Because it means that no matter how long you have suffered, no matter what the circumstances look like today, the power to change everything resides entirely within you. Not in the stock market, not in the government, not in some other person's decision, in you, in your feeling, in what you consent to accept as the truth of who you are and what is already yours. Feel this deeply. The God that religion has placed in the distant heavens, unreachable and demanding, is not outside you. You must realize that every tradition, every scripture, every illuminated teacher who ever breathed has been pointing at the same single truth. The creative power of the universe is your own imagination, your own wonderful, divine, endlessly capable human imagination. When the scripture says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God," it is speaking of the original creative movement, the first breath of consciousness declaring something into being, and that same breath lives in you. You are made of it. You are not separate from that creative force. You are its most intimate expression on this earth. When you imagine something with feeling, when you allow it to become real in the inner world before a single atom in the outer world has shifted, you are doing exactly what God does. You are declaring what is before it appears. And the law that governs this universe has no choice but to answer. The truth is, most men and women have never been taught this. They have been taught to react, to respond, to adapt to what is. They have been taught that the outer world is the cause and the inner world is the effect. And so they wait, endlessly, patiently, desperately, for something outside themselves to change so that they can finally feel different. But that is the inversion of the law. That is moving in the wrong direction. The mystic, the true creator, the one who understands the machinery of consciousness, moves in the opposite direction entirely. They feel first. They feel from the end. They feel from the place of already having arrived, already being the one they desire to be, and they allow the outer world to catch up to them, not by forcing, not by manipulating, but by the effortless, inexorable operation of a law that has never failed once in the entire history of creation. You must realize this is not a theory or a philosophy or an interesting idea to entertain on a quiet afternoon. This is the single most practical truth a human being can possess. It is more practical than any strategy, more effective than any plan, more powerful than any connection or resource or circumstance you could ever manufacture with your hands. Because when the inner state is correct, all of those outer elements arrange themselves without your effort. The bridge of incidents forms on its own, the right people appear, the right doors open, the right words are spoken at the right moment, not because you engineered it, but because you changed, because you felt something new, something true, something greater, and the world, which is nothing more than consciousness made visible, had no choice but to realign itself with your new inner posture. Let this thought anchor itself in you. All creation is finished. Every version of your life that you could possibly desire already exists in the infinite realm of imagination. You are not creating something from nothing. You are selecting. You are tuning. Like a hand on the dial of a vast cosmic radio, you are adjusting the frequency of your inner state to match the frequency of the life you desire. And the frequency is not thought alone. Thought is too thin. Thought without feeling is like a seed placed on concrete. It has no soil to take root in. But feeling, deep, sustained, earnest feeling, that is the soil. That is what draws the invisible into visible form. That is the alchemy that every ancient tradition was trying to describe when they spoke of prayer, of faith, of belief. When the scripture says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," it is not speaking of the intellect. The heart is the symbol of feeling. The heart is where conviction lives. And conviction felt is the most powerful force in existence. Now consider how Jesus gave it to you. He did not say pray and hope and wait and suffer. He said, "Whatsoever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye have received it, and ye shall have it." Believe that ye have received it. Past tense. Not that you will receive it. Not that you might receive it if all the conditions align properly and God decides to be generous. That you have received it. Already. Now. In the inner world of imagination and feeling. This is the secret of prayer that most people have never been shown. True prayer is not petition. It is not begging. It is not repeating words until something outside you decides to respond. True prayer is assumption. It is entering the state of the wish already fulfilled and feeling it as real. It is the inner certainty that precedes the outer evidence. And that certainty must come through feeling, for you cannot truly be certain of something you cannot feel. This is why there is such a profound difference between hoping for something and knowing something. Hope has a question mark at its center. Hope is still looking outward for confirmation. But knowing, that calm, unshakable inner knowing that the thing is done, that it is already yours in the only world where creation actually begins, that knowing is rooted entirely in feeling. When you feel something as real, when your body relaxes into it, when your breathing changes, when your attention naturally begins to organize itself around the fact of its existence, rather than the doubt of its arrival, something has shifted in the very fabric of your consciousness. You have moved from one state to another, and states, as Neville taught with such extraordinary clarity, are the real currency of creation. You do not change your world by changing your actions. You change your world by changing your state. By entering fully and faithfully into the state of the one who already possesses what you desire. Understand this. A state is not a mood. It is not a feeling that comes and goes like weather. A state is a sustained inner posture, a way of being that colors every thought, every perception, every conversation, every intuition that arises in you. When you are in the state of poverty, everything looks like proof of poverty. Every delay feels like confirmation. Every turned down opportunity feels like evidence. But when you are in the state of abundance, those same outer facts begin to dissolve in significance. You begin to see different things. You begin to hear different things. You begin to feel guided in different directions. And the world, which was always full of both lack and abundance, begins to show you predominantly the face that matches your inner state. This is not magic. This is mechanics. It is the mechanics of consciousness, and once you understand them, you can never go back to sleep. Let me speak to you practically, because the truth deserves to be lived, not merely admired. Suppose you long for a love that has not yet appeared in your life. The temptation is to search, to strategize, to make yourself more visible, more appealing, more available. These things are not wrong, but they are effects. They are outer movements. And outer movements without a corresponding inner state are like trying to warm a house by painting its walls. The heat must come from within. within. So instead of asking, how do I attract love? Ask yourself, what would it feel like to be deeply, completely, radiantly loved right now? Not someday, now. Close your eyes and let that feeling begin to rise in you. What would your posture be? What would your voice carry in it? How would you move through a room knowing that you are cherished, valued, seen, and loved? How would you speak to a stranger? How would you eat your morning meal? Walk through your front door? Fall asleep at night? These questions are not abstract. They are an instruction to your subconscious. They are the architecture of a new state. And as you begin to feel the answers in your body, in your breath, in the quiet expansion of your chest, you are no longer the one waiting for love. You have become the one who is already loved. And the world, which reflects who you are rather than what you want, must begin to produce the circumstances, the people, the encounters that correspond to that new truth. Feel this deeply. What you are feeling right now is not a response to your circumstances. Your circumstances are a response to what you have been feeling. The order of creation is always inside out, always. And the moment you restore that order within your own consciousness, the moment you stop asking the outer world for permission to feel good, and begin to feel good as an act of will, as an act of faith, as an act of radical creative authority, something ancient in you comes alive. Something that has been waiting, patiently, perhaps for years, for you to simply turn inward and claim what is already prepared. Now you may ask, but what do I do when doubt arises? What do I do when the old feelings rush back? When the outer world seems insistent on showing me what I do not want? The answer is not suppression. The answer is not denial. Acknowledge what arises, look at it clearly, and then with a firm and loving hand, redirect your attention to the state you have chosen. Do not fight the old feeling. Fighting it only gives it more energy, more substance, more presence. Instead, gently withdraw your attention from it, the way you would move your hand away from a flame, without drama, without self-condemnation, without the exhausting narrative of why this is so hard. Simply return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Return to the scene in your imagination that implies your desire is already done. Return with the same gentle, persistent faithfulness with which a shepherd returns a wandering lamb to the fold. Not with force, with love, with quiet authority. The truth is that the imagination is not a playground for the spiritually gifted. It is the workshop of every soul that has ever created something magnificent on this earth. Every cathedral, every symphony, every act of healing, every life rebuilt from the ruins of what seemed irreparable, began in the imagination of one person who dared to feel it as real before a single stone was laid, before a single note was played, before the first sign of recovery appeared in the body or the relationship or the circumstance. They felt it first. They sustained that feeling. They lived from it until the outer world caught up. And when it did, they understood something that most of their neighbors never would. That the miracle was not the outer result. The miracle was the inner shift. The outer result was merely the receipt. Let this truth wash over you now like water over stone, wearing away everything that does not belong to the person you are becoming. You are not a victim of your past. Your past only has dominion over you so long as you continue to feel it as present reality. The moment you choose a new feeling, a new state, a new inner assumption about who you are and what is true in your world, you have broken the chain. Not dramatically, not with a thunderclap or a burning bush, though those things may come. You have broken it quietly, in the sacred privacy of your own inner world, in the space between your thoughts, where imagination lives and God creates. You have made a choice, and that choice, if sustained by feeling, if watered by daily return to the state of the wish fulfilled, will bloom into the most extraordinary evidence that you have ever witnessed in your outer life. This is why the great teachers have always spoken of the importance of sleep, of the threshold between waking and dreaming, where the guard of the conscious mind grows soft and the door to the subconscious swings open. It is in that state, that drowsy, receptive, magnificent state of consciousness just before sleep, that the assumption you hold will most deeply impress itself upon the subconscious. And the subconscious, that vast, creative, tireless worker that operates beneath all waking awareness, will immediately begin to construct the pathways, the connections, the circumstances that correspond to what it has received. This is why Neville spoke so repeatedly about sleeping in the state of the wish fulfilled. Not because sleep itself is magic, but because the state of mind just before sleep is the most fertile soil in all of human experience. What you plant there grows without your effort, without your strategizing, without your anxious watching. It grows because that is the nature of seeds planted in fertile ground. They grow, they must. So tonight, before you close your eyes, do not review the day that has just passed with its ledger of worries and complications and unresolved fears. Instead, construct a A single, vivid, emotionally charged scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Not the journey toward it, not the process of its becoming, the end result. The feeling of already being there. If it is a healed body you desire, feel the vitality in your limbs, the ease of your breathing, the lightness of movement, the sound of a doctor's voice delivering the words, "All is well." If it is abundance you seek, feel the ease of someone who has no financial fear. Feel the casual confidence with which you reach for what you want, knowing it is available to you. If it is a reconciled relationship, feel the warmth of that person's presence, hear the laughter between you, sense the peace of resolution. Whatever it is, make the scene short, vivid, and saturated with feeling. Then enter it completely. Breathe it in. Let every cell of your body participate in its reality, and then fall asleep in that state. Let the last impression of your conscious mind be the truth of your fulfilled desire. You must also understand that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a performance. It is not an act you put on for the benefit of the universe. The universe is not watching your behavior. It is reading your being. It is not impressed by what you say or how convincingly you can pretend. It responds only to what you are in consciousness, to the actual felt truth of your inner world. This is why desperate visualization rarely works. Desperation is a feeling, and what you feel is what you get. The desperation itself, the hunger for the thing to arrive, contains within it the vibration of lack, of absence, of the thing not yet being here. And so the law faithfully produces more absence, more waiting, more of the hunger that was the seed. This is not cruel, it is precise. The law gives you what you are, not what you want. So, become what you want. Feel what it feels like to already be it. And the gap between wanting and having will begin to close on its own. The bridge of incidents, those miraculous, often seemingly random sequences of events that carry you from your present circumstance to your desired one, do not need to be built by you. You cannot build them. You do not have the vantage point. You cannot see the whole field. You do not know which conversation will lead to which opportunity, which chance meeting will shift the direction of everything, which seemingly insignificant decision will turn out to be the hinge on which everything pivots. But the intelligence behind consciousness knows. The law knows. And when you plant the seed of the feeling in fertile inner ground and sustain it, that intelligence goes to work on your behalf with a precision and an efficiency that will leave you breathless when you look back at the sequence of events that brought your desire into form. Your only job is to feel it real, to sustain the assumption, to walk through your days as the person who already knows the outcome, and to remain faithful to that inner knowing, even when, especially when, the outer world has not yet caught up. You are not here to observe life, you are here to create it, not with your muscles or your strategies or your careful navigation of other people's opinions. You are here to create it with the one power that was given to you before you drew your first breath, and that will remain with you long after you draw your last. The power of consciousness, the power of imagination, the power of deliberate, sustained, faithful feeling. This is the inheritance of every soul that has ever come to this earth, and it has never belonged more to the saints than to the sinners, never more to the learned than to the simple, never more to the man on the mountaintop than to the woman in the valley who is willing, right now, in this moment, to feel something new and to trust what she cannot yet see. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for proof. The proof will come after the feeling, never before. The sign will follow the belief, not precede it. The outer evidence will arrive in the wake of the inner assumption, and it will arrive with such natural, organic, unhurried perfection that you will almost not notice it coming until it is already there, already rearranging your life, already reshaping the landscape of what is possible for you. And on that day, you will understand what every awakened soul has understood, that you were never waiting on God. God, your own wonderful imagination, was waiting on you. Waiting for you to stop looking outside yourself for what could only ever come from within. Waiting for you to claim the power that was always yours. Waiting for you to finally, fully, without apology or hesitation, feel what you truly are. So feel it now. Not later, not when circumstances improve, not when you have more evidence or more faith or more understanding. Now. In this moment, with whatever capacity you currently have, feel the truth of what you desire as though it were already so. Let it be small at first if it needs to be. Let it be a single breath, a single heartbeat, a single moment of genuine inner contact with the state of the wish fulfilled. That is enough. That is the beginning. And if you return to it tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that, with the same faithfulness with which the sun returns each morning, not because it is forced to, but because it is its nature, you will find that the feeling grows stronger, the state deepens, the assumption becomes more natural, more habitual, more automatic, until one day you wake up and realize you are no longer practicing the feeling, you are simply being it. You are no longer reaching for the state, you are living from it. And when that moment comes, the outer world will have already begun to show you, in undeniable and beautiful detail, the harvest of the seed you planted in the quiet moments when no one was watching, when nothing had yet changed on the surface, when only you and the law and the feeling knew the truth of what was already done. Nothing is more powerful than a human being who knows what they are, feels what they desire, and refuses to let the world talk them out of it. You are the operant power. You are the one who decides what is real. You are the one who determines the quality of your consciousness and therefore the quality of your life. No circumstance is strong enough to override a feeling that is held with sufficient depth and conviction. No person, no condition, no history is capable of preventing the harvest once the seed has been properly planted and faithfully sustained. The law does not make exceptions. It does not show favoritism. It does not require you to be perfect or worthy or spiritually advanced. It requires only one thing, that you feel it real, that you dare, in the sacred and sovereign territory of your own inner world, to declare it done. Feel this. Let it not pass through you like a pleasant idea. Let it land. Let it root. Let it change something deep and permanent in the way you move through your days and inhabit your nights. You are not a small thing asking permission from a large universe. You are the universe in individual expression, feeling itself into form, imagining itself into being, creating with every sustained assumption the next chapter of the only story that has ever truly mattered. The story of a soul waking up to its own infinite creative power and choosing finally and completely to use it with intention. The world will always, without exception, without hesitation, without the slightest deviation, reflect what you dare to feel is true. And knowing this, you now have only one real task before you. Choose what you feel. Choose it deliberately. Choose it with love. Choose it with the kind of quiet, unshakable confidence that belongs to someone who understands the law and has decided to live by it rather than be lived by it. Feel the truth of what you want. Sustain it. Sleep in it. Walk in it. And then, with the divine patience of one who knows that the harvest is certain, let the world catch up to you. It will. It always does. Because the feeling is not a request. The feeling is the command. And the world, which is nothing more than consciousness made dense and visible, can only obey.